It's been just a quiet year for storms in the Gulf.
A strong ridge of high pressure has been sitting over the Gulf for much of the season, acting like a lid that keeps air from rising and storms from forming.
The West Coast prepares for the arrival of an atmospheric river.
While this is a typical fall storm for the region, it's still catching people off guard.
A closer look at how you can recover when wet conditions want to force you off the road.
That is the easy way to do it, folks. Keep it drama-free.
And does the Earth really have two moons? We'll separate fact from fiction.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Tropical storm Melissa is now forecast to become a major hurricane in the Central Caribbean. Millions of people in Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic are at risk of strong winds, heavy rain, and flooding. And there's still plenty of uncertainty with where it goes next. Florida meteorologist Charlotte Carl is tracking Melissa for us this morning.
Still a tropical storm, still disorganized. The big story is how slow it is moving west-northwest at 3 miles an hour. Over this season, we've seen storms vary anywhere from 20 miles an hour movement to about 5 to 10, but nothing really below 5. Maximum sustained winds of 50 miles an hour. But even when we're looking at satellite here, there's no super defined center of circulation. While there is one in the lower levels of the atmosphere, you can't really see it on satellite. Pressure has also increased from the last update. When we look at the track or the cone, keep in mind anywhere within the cone is where the center of the storm is most likely to track, but we will see impacts outside the storm, which is why we're already seeing rain everywhere else. Now expected to reach Category 3 strength by Monday morning, but still meandering around the Caribbean at that time.
And you heard how Melissa will likely become a major hurricane. To understand just how powerful that is and what other categories of hurricanes there are, let's turn to meteorologist Vitas Reed.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. I want to talk to you about hurricane strengths and their category. We're talking about hurricane category 1. That's between 74 and 95 miles per hour, producing minor damage, and power outages can last for several days. We're talking about category 2. Winds between 96 and 110 miles per hour will likely produce extensive damage, and tornadoes are possible. Category 3, we keep going up on that number. You're looking at sustained winds between 111 and 130 miles per hour. Power outages can last more than a week, and then you get to a category 4 hurricane, even stronger with 131 miles per hour winds up to 155. Catastrophic damage with power outages lasting more than a few months, and we're talking about category 5, even worse, greater than 155 mile per hour winds, catastrophic damage, and power outages can last many months. So these are the categories of these storms, can be very dangerous out there across the area.
And while all eyes are on Tropical Storm Melissa, the Gulf remains oddly quiet, and that's been the case for most of this year's hurricane season. Meteorologist Miriam Caldwell explains why.
The Gulf has been unusually quiet this season with no tropical formations, no landfalls, and many wondering how that's even possible. The warm water's there, but the atmosphere just hasn't given that extra support. A strong ridge of high pressure has been sitting over the Gulf for much of the season, acting like a lid that keeps air from rising and storms from forming. And that same high pressure has also helped steer most systems away from the Gulf and the U.S. altogether. And on top of that, dry Saharan dust has drifted from across the Atlantic, keeping air stable and skies clear, which is not exactly the recipe for hurricane formation. Even when small disturbances have tried to develop, strong upper level winds have torn them apart because they could organize. And so the bottom line is that the right ingredients just haven't lined up at the right time, which isn't bad news for us, just very uncommon. Looking ahead, NOAA's Global Tropics Outlook shows no signs of tropical development expected through at least November 11th. And as small cold fronts sweep south, they'll keep pushing anything that might try to form in the Gulf away. Now, although we can't let our guard down just yet, as the season does run until November 30th.
And moving to the West Coast now, and the threat of an atmospheric river. It is the first notable atmospheric river system of the fall season, and it's set to hit portions of the West Coast tonight into the weekend. 1 to 3 inches of rain and winds up to 40 miles per hour are expected. Meteorologist Stella Sun is in Seattle to see how folks in western Washington are preparing for this storm.
October in the Pacific Northwest.
It's definitely pretty when it changes over.
The leaves changing color and the cooler weather is why many people enjoy this month.
The cool, crisp days, but we can still get outside a lot of the fall. I enjoy that a lot.
But fall reminds us how quickly the weather goes from sunny to stormy.
It's about to get nasty out here.
Anticipating the nasty weather getting here, Snohomish Public Utilities has been trimming trees and strengthening the power grid.
We've been preparing all summer.
As the first notable atmospheric river event is expected to drench the region, Snohomish PUD stocked their warehouses and prepped equipment just in case gusty winds cause power outages.
When you have a lot of the leaves still on the limbs, it weighs them down, and then when the wind comes into contact with those limbs, they cause more damage because they're heavier. So they can cause more damage to our poles, they can cause more damage to our lines.
While this is a typical fall storm for the region, it's still catching people off guard. With soaking rain on its way, preparing for stormy weather is something we should all brace for.
Whenever we're going into fall and winter, we really, really want customers to know that they need to have extra food on hand, extra water. We say for at least 3 days.
So what exactly is an atmospheric river, and how does it bring so much rain in a short time period? To find out, we turn to meteorologist John Gum.
Well, in the coming days, an atmospheric river is going to continue to bring heavy rain and even snow to parts of the Pacific Northwest. So what exactly are atmospheric rivers? Well, you can think of these similar to a regular river that flows, but this is a river of moisture in the sky. Take, for instance, our atmospheric river here. It's the moisture, in this case, coming off the Pacific Ocean in a narrow corridor that flows from the ocean onto land. And as that moisture comes onto land, it hits the mountains, and that moist air rises up over the mountains. As the air rises, it cools, it condenses, and you get heavy rainfall to form, and if it's cold enough, heavy snowfall to form as well. And this river of moisture is super concentrated, so as it persists over and over, you can really see the amounts of rain and snow add up, leading to flooding and, of course, mudslides and other disastrous consequences. Atmospheric rivers, something that can have major impacts across the western part of the United States.
And the West Coast is not the only area dealing with wet weather today. Portions of northern Texas and the southern Great Plains are at risk of severe weather. Isolated severe storms are expected beginning this afternoon into early Friday morning. Strong winds, heavy rain, and severe hail are all possible as well. You may have heard recently on the news or even on social media that the Earth now has 2 moons. Even NASA has weighed in on this issue. But what's really going on here? And is there any truth to any of these headlines? Meteorologist Noah Hawk helps separate fact from fiction.
Some people on social media have been talking about the fact that Earth now has 2 moons. Do we really? Well, the short answer is no. We still just have the one and only moon, but let's break down why some people have been thinking we might have a second one. But first off, what exactly does the word moon even really mean? Well, it's going to be when a celestial body or a naturally occurring object in space is going to orbit another one, like Earth, for example, and it's going to be bounded by that object's gravitational force. So for us, our moon is bounded by Earth's gravitational pull. But what about this other object that the University of Hawaii and in conjunction with NASA have discovered? Well, it's been given the illustrious name 2025 PN7, but it's been labeled as a quasi-moon. This means that it's going to be in a similar orbit to Earth, but it's not going to be bounded by Earth's gravitational pull, but rather the sun's. So it's going to stick around for quite a while. They estimate until 2083. And 2025 PN7 is 100,000 times smaller than our moon and just about 4 times further away.
A weather and climate disaster database the Trump administration retired in May has been given new life by a nonprofit. The database tracks extreme weather disasters that cause $1 billion or more in damage to property and other infrastructure. NOAA used to host the database, but its administrator took early retirement this year. The climate research nonprofit Climate Central has since hired that administrator and is now hosting that database. And for the latest weather news and video, be sure to check us out on social media. You can find us on your favorite platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk or scan the QR code on the bottom left corner of your screen. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, fall is the most dangerous season for drivers. We'll show you ways to make sure you stay safe on the road. And we'll look at how different types of weather can impact fall foliage.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn. Let's get a look at the Northeast for the day on Thursday. We are talking partly cloudy skies for many areas. Notice some scattered showers in some spots, especially as you head towards northern New England and off towards parts of Pennsylvania and New York. Most of southern New England should stay dry. And then for the day on Friday, much of the same. Call it partly cloudy skies, some scattered showers for many areas inland, but overall a mostly dry forecast down towards the coast. High temperatures for today will top out in the 50s to lower 60s.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Cool, quiet, and dry weather to continue all the way through this weekend, so no changes to this forecast. Will be very persistent. The only showers we could see will likely be far to the north up towards Pennsylvania and the northeastern states and near the Great Lakes. We'll just see some passing clouds on occasion and cooler than average temperatures. Each day likely rising to the 50s to low 60s. Of course, the mountains will be cooler, but it'll be the same way again late Friday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs. Looking at a comfortable 77 in Atlanta. Birmingham looking at 79 degrees. Mobile 81 degrees up towards Raleigh, 71, mid-80s in South Florida. Lots of clear skies. High pressure pretty much in control over the southeast, keeping things dry as we go through the day. Looks like that will continue for the next couple of days until our next weather maker. This system moves in from the west as we get towards the weekend.
I'm Taylor Canoose, Chief Meteorologist at Watch Fox in Columbia, South Carolina, and you're watching the National Weather Desk.
To Los Angeles, where a luxury Pacific Palisades mansion once featured an HBO show Succession is now among 8 properties declared a public nuisance by that city. Officials say the owner failed to clear toxic fire debris following the January wildfires that devastated that community. Now they could face hefty cleanup fines. Gio Insigneris has reaction from neighbors.
Clean up or pay up. That seems to be the message from LA City officials after 8 Pacific Palisades properties, including a burned down mansion featured in HBO's Succession, were declared public nuisances. The city's Board of Building and Safety Commissioners says the owners missed the deadline to clear hazardous debris after the January wildfire, putting the community at risk.
I mean, you could see just like some of the insides, and it looks like a public nuisance. I mean, some of it looks like it could be historical, but it's just such an eyesore that I get how they would think that.
The 8 properties are a mix of businesses, large estates, apartment complexes, and a mobile home park. Residents like Nita Barber say some streets, like hers, were cleared quickly through federal programs or private contractors. But others, especially the multi-million-dollar properties, she says, have lagged behind, perhaps because of insurance complications.
Maybe the people who have not been paid out yet are dragging their feet because they're still waiting, or maybe they're litigating, or maybe, you know, their price tag is a lot higher.
A spokesperson for Councilwoman Tracy Park, whose district includes Pacific Palisades, tells CBS LA the top concern is the potential environmental impact from toxins left behind at these properties, saying cleanup should happen sooner rather than later, and that the city is still exploring all available options to help get it done.
Wet roads and slick leaves can cause cars to run off the road. Meteorologist Veronica Johnson went to a vehicle training facility to learn the right way to recover and how to keep your cool when your car slips off the pavement.
Running off the road happens more than you think. The Federal Highway Administration says about 77% of weather-related crashes happen during rain or mist, and roadway departures are often triggered by distraction or fatigue. Instructor Kevin Plumer showed me how quickly it happens and how most drivers make things worse.
I've got one hand on the wheel and I've still got one hand on my cell phone.
And now you're off the road.
And now I'm off road.
It doesn't take much, just a glance at your phone or losing focus.
When I get off road, I'm coming off. So now I'm cutting my wheel hard. So when I catch traction, it's throwing me into the other lane. That's not the answer for an off-road recovery.
Yanking the wheel back may feel right, but it can send you straight into oncoming traffic. Then Kevin showed me the right way, calm and controlled, keeping the car stable.
As I drop off the road and I start to cut back on, I'm just going to take some of that steering back out. I know I've started a bad thing. You could feel that rear end starting to rotate around. So I'm just taking some of that steering back out of it that I dumped in. So that gives me that control back of the vehicle. With this off-road recovery, I'm just bringing my feet off the pedals. I'm going to freeze my steering and I'm going to let this car ease back on. So no drama whatsoever.
That was almost like a country drive. So Kevin, my turn to be behind the wheel.
So feet off pedals, let it settle in, ease back on. There you go, drama free.
That is the easy way to do it, folks. Keep it drama free and pay attention. Runoff road crashes make up the majority of fatal single vehicle accidents in the United States. And many don't even happen in bad weather. They happen on straight, dry roads when drivers feel too comfortable. So the lesson is simple. Stay focused, stay calm, and if you run off the road, keep it drama-free.
And here's a question for you. What's the coldest part of the day? Is it midnight? What about 4 in the morning? Well, it's neither. Meteorologist Mitchell Combs explains why.
During the day, the sun sends heat to the Earth through its rays. The technical term for this is solar radiation. The Earth also radiates heat back out, but at a much slower rate. The net result is a rise in temperatures throughout the day. When the sun sets, the Earth stops receiving solar radiation, but continues to radiate that heat away from the surface. The result is a drop in temperatures through the night in a process known as radiational cooling. Oftentimes, clouds work as a blanket to keep warm air trapped down at the surface, but on cold, crisp nights, this radiational cooling is much more efficient. When the sun rises the next morning, we begin to receive solar radiation once again. However, the incoming solar radiation just after sunrise is quite weak, often weaker than the radiation being released by Earth's surface. Take a look at this chart where the red line is our temperatures throughout the day, and you can see that period just after sunrise when those morning lows often occur. It isn't until later in the day when the sun rises higher in the sky that we see that incoming solar radiation outweigh the exiting radiation from the surface. We see those peak temperatures in the afternoon a few hours after the maximum incoming solar radiation. This cycle repeats day in and day out at slightly differing rates based on weather conditions such as moisture and cloud cover.
South of Green Bay, the fall colors are on full display at a local nature center. The treetop vantage point there is a tough view to beat. Eric Peterson has more.
Just off this section of the Arboretum Trail, the Tracy Wagner Memorial Tower seems to rise into the Monday morning air.
Our observation tower is 60 feet in height. We have 3 different levels that you can observe from, and you can see many miles out. The colors are always beautiful up there.
It's 96 steps to the very top. Calumet County Parks Office and Program Manager Lindsay Meyer says the climb is worth the work.
We've had a lot of brilliant, reds and oranges popping through. Have seen a lot of people out hiking and enjoying the fall time. We've been really lucky with this weather this last couple of weeks here.
There are miles of trails to explore at the 105-acre Ledgeview Nature Center south of Chilton. Meyer says the seasonal splash of color here may be short-lived.
It's hard to say how long it's gonna last yet. I'd say we're seeing a lot of leaves hitting the ground. That being said, I feel like we're just nearing peak, so I think people have another couple of weeks or 2 weeks or so maybe to enjoy it.
And speaking of fall foliage, do you know how the weather impacts leaf colors? Meteorologist Joy Bedenhausen explains.
So precipitation does play a role in how vibrant our fall colors will be. If we have like a dry fall season, below normal precipitation recorded, either the leaf change will be delayed or the colors will just be muted entirely. Now, if we have a bit more of a wet fall, the fall foliage kind of peak will be on time and our leaves should be vibrant. Of course, temperature and sunlight plays a role too. When you have abnormally warm days like what we've been having lately, our colors can be muted. Same with adding more cloud cover to the sky and warmer nights. Now on the flip side, we've had those cooler nights. We've had plenty of sunshine. We just haven't had those seasonally warm days. But if you have all three of those, good chance you're going to see some vibrant fall foliage.
And time now for a short break, but first we soar over a herd of wild horses in Montana.
Well, good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Phil Kelly. Pretty nice weather across most of the region. Now, the Great Lakes, we're still dealing with a lot of rain. Everybody else, a good deal of sunshine. Temperatures pretty seasonable for this time of year. We get into your Friday. Things are looking okay for the end of the week as well, though we will see some rain start to build into the central plains, a little bit more rain, but most of the area is still going to stay fairly dry through the weekend, this weekend.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're waking up into the 40s this morning for our friends at Amarillo. A little bit warmer from El Paso over to 63, 54 in Oklahoma City. Warm and almost humid down to the south. Lots of moisture moving in today. Weak system will allow that moisture to build up. We'll watch for a Pacific front that'll move through. Could be bringing rain later in the week. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Hi, everybody. I'm Theron Zahn with a look at the forecast for the western United States. Generally quiet thanks to this area of high pressure out west, but we are waiting for this system to move into the northwest, bringing showers and a lower snow level. That will happen late Friday, or I should say late Thursday and into Friday. So it's going to be awfully wet Friday and Saturday in places like Seattle and Portland. Take a look at these temperatures. 82 in Vegas, 85 for Phoenix, 71 in Reno. That's the scene from out here.
I'm Chicago Windler, Chief Meteorologist at CBS Austin News in Austin, Texas, and you're watching the National Weather Desk.
Fire officials in western North Carolina are warning their residents about the increased fire risks due to the breezy and dry weather. Meteorologist Julia Haley has more, including additional ways to stay safe all the time, but especially when conditions are ripe for wildfires.
The National Weather Service issued a fire danger statement for the Carolinas as abnormally dry and developing drought conditions continue throughout the area. And the Buncombe County Fire Marshal says even though there's no burn ban in place right now, people should still use caution.
Use a lot of caution. Don't burn near the wood line, 25 feet from your structure, 25 feet from the wood line. Your fire must be constantly attended until it's completely out, and that is by ordinance. And also, you must have a way of extinguishing that fire, whether it's a shovel, a rake, or a fire extinguisher.
And we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.